Hi everyone, I'm Candace, Eclectic Coaching with Candace. I do personal coaching, individual readings, and I do custom guided imagery. So if you're interested in any of that, you can link to me below and fill out the form on my website and we can work together. Okay, so what I wanted to focus on in this video is the 3 things indigos need to do. And of course, this is just my opinion as an indigo. And if you are unfamiliar with that idea, indigos are the generation that was typically born in the late 70s, early 80s, mid 90s. We typically were diagnosed as ADD or ADHD. We are highly empathic and sensitive people. We tend to be the trailblazers that are making way with new technology and the breaking down of old systems. Many of us indigos are adults now and already in our careers or stepping into our careers. And these are 3 things that I think are really important and helpful to be aware of as an indigo. And what inspired this video is I was starting to get frustrated with like the lighting and different things in my environment, and then my equipment just, nope, not gonna work. And as I became more and more angry and more frustrated, just my equipment is just like, no, that's not gonna happen. So if you notice that you're breaking a lot of watches and phones and just stuff is tripping out in your environment or going slowly, check your anger and set up a plan for how to deal with anger on a regular basis, how to actually discharge it from your system, either through exercise or dance or boxing or fighting or something that just helps you release the raw energy. Because, you know, we are merging with technology more and more, and this is happening exponentially, so it's happening quicker than we're able to even wrap our minds around. And I think that this is really, really important as technology like starts becoming like a very integrated into our nervous system thing. So we need to be aware of our anger and deal with it in healthy, conscious ways. And then the next tip is shadow work. And it kind of has some overlap in dealing with your anger, because whatever, and I'm talking about Jungian psychology here. So that's, the shadow is the part of the self that we deny and don't want to look at and are just like, nope, that's not even a real thing. That doesn't exist. And what we put into our shadow can happen in a number of different ways. So for example, let's say you had a really difficult experience with a teacher that was really mean and hurtful and critical, and you think, I am never going to be like that. So you deny being critical or mean in any way. You're just like, I am not like that. I am a nice person. I am not critical. And what tends to happen when it goes unconscious is you end up attracting mean, hurtful, critical people to you so that you can forgive and heal and have compassion, or you tend to project it on other people. And there's some videos called The Diamond Net, and she does a really good job with shadow work. And she talks about it, you know, as it talks in the Bible about the speck in your own eye and the log, the log in your own eye and the speck in the other person's eye. So we tend to project, you know, and say, oh, this person's so rude, this person's so critical. And we are, in fact, being critical but can't see it. It's so easy when you talk to a friend to see their shadow and how it's playing out. But that's the thing about our own shadow, is that it's harder to see. And that's why it's the shadow. And the more we can be aware, maybe even of our own anger or whatever qualities that we don't like or dismiss in other people, or say that's terrible and I could never do that. And because the thing is that everybody has everything within their personality, and what we choose not to look at and just pretend isn't there is going to resurface. And ultimately, all judgments are self-judgments. And that's really tough, because you're just like, no, I'm not like that at all. But until you recognize maybe where attributes of it, not maybe the exact expression, but attributes of that same quality exist within you, then you're not able to do anything about it, because we have no control over what other people do. We can only control ourselves. And there's a line in the Course in Miracles that says you pay a high price for not taking full responsibility for everything that happens to you, and it's the belief that you can't change it. And so as we own our own shadow and we begin integrating it, people become less annoying, and we become more compassionate and more conscious and more aware. And that's what the world needs, I think. The world needs lots of things, but if you're an indigo, the world needs a healthy indigo, a person who has worked on themselves and looked at themselves and can be compassionate and can come in and speak truth to power and question and invent and create new solutions for this amazing new world that has the potential of emerging. And if you're an indigo, you know that you're here to do something important, and everybody's here to be and do something important, but I'm talking to indigos right now. You're here to create stuff. You're here to innovate. You're here to change things up. You're here to change the paradigm and the power structure that follows that. So do your own work. Do your own shadow work. One of the things that I found as I'm starting to do my own shadow work is that I'm a hypocrite. Everybody is a hypocrite. Everyone, everywhere. Like, I get mad at my roommate because I think that he's super, like, he shoots down my ideas and has to be right. And I get really upset. And then I have to think, fuck, I do that too. I do that too. And we were trying to have an argument, and it turned out to be really healthy, because as I was trying to tell him what I didn't like about his behavior, I had to pause. And I'm not that agreeable either. I'm rather argumentative myself. And so the more I can own the way I am, the more influence I have in making positive changes in my life. And so do your work, indigos. It will make everything easier. And people become less annoying. It's almost like the world brings you people to irritate you and help you, like, heal the various parts of yourself. And also, you lose a lot of power, because let's just say there's like something that you have a talent in, or something that you enjoy, but you also associate that thing with a group of people that you don't like, then you deny that in yourself, and you don't get to experience the positive attributes, and on top of that, you're irritated by these other people that you don't like, who do this thing that's associated with this thing that you could very well like. I feel like this about, like, well, I feel kind of funny giving a personal example, but my mom is an ESFP. So she's very social and can talk and be like a social butterfly. And I've had some negative experiences with just, other women and feeling like they're gossipy or mean or something like that. And so I watch my mom because her personality stack is 100% different, or like 180 degrees different from mine. And one of the things that I've realized is that I really like to socialize, and I like working with other women, and I like, the feminine thing. And because I've had these negative experiences with mean girls or whatever, I just am like, no, I don't want any of that. I'm not like that. I'm not superficial like that. And it's only been from watching my mom and seeing that, she's a socialite. She's a social person. She's a social, and it serves a function. And it's different than the way I am, because I'm an introverted person and I only want like one or two girlfriends, and I'm not really good at the whole big group thing. Watching her has helped me find an appreciation for groups of women and how they circulate. And yes, they gossip, and that's a part of it. And I can see where maybe there have been times in my life where I've been kind of gossipy. And as I'm able to own that, I'm able to see the way my mom socializes and see the value in it and integrate it in a healthier, more conscious way in my own life and in my own environment. And so it's not just bad things that we put in our shadow, it's also really empowering and positive things that we've just lumped or associated with something that we don't like and don't want to be a part of, that go into our shadow. So we're able to, what is the word? Gather more power from these unconscious parts of ourselves by becoming more conscious. And then the next thing I wanted to talk about for indigos is clean your field regularly. This is very, very, very important, because if you're an indigo, you have, let's say, a larger field or scope of awareness in your energy field. And you are more attuned to subtler frequencies. And whether we are aware of it or not, the frequencies in our environment that come through the TV, that come through the radio, that come through the various airwaves, that stay in spaces, that come as a result of, continuing habitual thought, can actually create like thought forms. There are entities, there's lots going on, and we're only beginning to scratch the surface of it. And if that sounds a little woo-woo to you, remember, there are no pseudoscientific fields. It's how we measure those things. And I think that this is going to become increasingly important for everyone, and not just indigos, to clear their field regularly, because when you're sensitive and there's these thought forms, it's like you can literally run into a thought form in the ethers and it can have an effect on you. And so clearing and shielding is very important for your physiological, psychological, general well-being. And also, many indigos struggle with various forms of addiction. And it's because of our sensitivity, and our sensitivity is truly a gift to us, a gift to the world. Although sometimes if you're very psychic and intuitive, it does not feel that way. it really doesn't feel that way at all. It just feels like, why is this fucking happening to me? And like you feel like there's just a barrage of energies that like affect you, and they do. So you need to clear it. And some of the ways that you can do that is to use an oil diffuser like the one I have behind me here, or sage sticks or candles, just intention, just asking God to clear your energy field, practicing mindfulness, which is where you just breathe and practice present moment awareness is important. And you let those thoughts fall away. And as we are merging with technology and it becomes an ever more present feature of our like physical reality, I think that the world as a whole is going to see, yeah, you know, we're all connected, and maybe there's a lot more going on here than we previously understood. But indigos, you're sensitive and you already understand what I'm talking about. So take Epsom salt baths is another great way to clear your field, and also put some oil in the bathtub if it dries out your skin. And I'm also feeling an impression to remind myself and you to drink lots and lots of water, because water is a conductor of energy. It's also a symbolic representation of your emotional field. And if you want to have a greater impact, consciously drinking water, taking your supplements, eating healthy food, especially food that's on the light frequency, you know, all the colors of the rainbow in a day. And I think a good way to do that is in like salad packs. They tend to have a lot of color and they're easy and quick and efficient. So be mindful of what you eat and what you drink, because that gives you energy, and then be very aware of what you do with it. And I hope that these 3 or 4 techniques are helpful to you. Thanks.